Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching this video, and welcome back to another episode of At the Time of This Recording. So, what makes a song something that you despise? Is it because it maybe reminds you of a bad memory or a bad person? Or is it maybe something more on the artistic side of the spectrum, something like the lyrics, the voice, or maybe some other production choice? It could be these things or a combination, but there are very few songs that give me this feeling of dread when it comes on, or simply contemplating to defenestrate the device of choice playing the song. There are loads that I don't like or feel indifferent towards, but I've decided to be mean today and go over 10 songs that I hate. So here we go. First off, we're off to a very strong start, in my opinion, with the debut single and breakthrough hit for the singer Meghan Trainor and All About the Bass. Bada Bass. I hate this song so much, and why I do, there are a few reasons behind it. Firstly, it's been played to death, and I think I could give you the lyrics word for word despite my feelings on it. More importantly, however, is the message that the song sends out. It has been lauded as a body positivity song, and to some extent, I can understand why it would be labelled as that, but it isn't plus size pride, it's more like skinny shaming to me. You can be proud of your body and not be mean to skinny people, believe it or not. People could be skinny for reasons from genetics to eating disorders. And as the Shags so famously put it, and the skinny people want what the fat people's got, and the fat people want what the skinny people's got. And calling skinny women bitches is just awful and in very bad taste. The irony now is that Meg Hanna has lost a lot of weight. So who's this skinny bitch now? Oh, and if you put Photoshop in a song lyric, to me, it already sucks. Keeping things strong at number 2 with this monstrosity, Dance Monkey by Tones and I. A song with absolutely no redeeming qualities, and the most annoying and horrible voice I think I've ever heard. What blows my mind, really, is that this song was number 1 in over 30 countries. Quite how, I have absolutely no idea, and according to their Wikipedia article, Tones and I is labelled as a singer. I'm just as shocked as you are. Apparently she wrote it while busking and the difficulties of it, feeling a bit like a sort of like one of those sort of monkeys with the organ grinders, I suppose, being sort of expected to entertain on command, if you will. I've busked on a number of occasions, and it is a tough gig, and it is difficult to get attention. And if you're lucky, you'll get a little bit of money from the passing public. But if you're singing with that voice, they were probably ignoring you because, one, you sound like a demon Elmo, and two, the song just sucks. It sucks. Next up, we have the most streamed song in the history of Spotify, with nearly 5 billion streams. We have this earworm, Heart FM's favourite ginger singer-songwriter, who released this song in 2017. Yes, it's The Shape of You by Ed Sheeran. I've always been a little bit on the fence with Ed Sheeran. My sister recommended me to listen to him when he exploded onto the scene back in 2011. At that time, I was really, really into performing at open mic nights and acoustic clubs all around the Cirencester and wider area. I personally quite like his sort of more stripped back acoustic stuff, so this would be sort of like the early part of his career, like the A-Team and Small Bump. Those songs especially are actually really good. I'm really not too keen at all on his more kind of pop-leaning stuff. I digress, but the song is horrible. It just sounds sleazy, and that synth hook goes on for the whole song, and it gets annoying very, very quickly. And apparently he can talk about sweet and sour for hours and hours. I mean, I love sweet and sour as much as the next guy, but clearly not as much as the world's most famous Ipswich Town fan. I wonder if he likes chunks of pineapple, or if he likes some more sort of smooth sauce. Also, what is the shape of you? I personally think it's a triangle. Why you got to be so rude? One of life's great questions, and also the opening line to the chorus of this abomination. The song was written by Magic, with an exclamation mark, and would be their debut single, and by a country mile, their most popular and recognisable song. It's a story about a young man who decides to smarten up and ask his lover's father for a hand in marriage. And he says no. That's it. It took nearly 4 minutes for the song to wrap up. And also, it doesn't really have any connotations that the father was even rude in the first place. If he said you were a with a tiny personality, then yeah, that's rude. It's not completely irredeemable. It does have a nice sort of chilled out reggae vibe, which is fine, but it doesn't gloss over the absolutely horrible lyrics. After being turned down by his lover's father, he then goes against his wishes and says he'll marry her anyway and have kids and all that. He sounds very confident of this, but what you don't know is that his hopeful future wife was so offended by his behaviour towards her dad that she broke up with him immediately afterwards. Yes, I just made that up, but, well, you never know. At number 5, we have another song featuring Meghan Trainor, this time with the singer Charlie Puth. Anyway, this duet was released in 2015. I can't believe I'm even going to sing this lyric, but less Marvin Gaye and get it on. Holy crap, this song is absolutely dreadful. It's in a league of its own in terms of cringe, and using one of Motown's greatest ever singers as a verb, and his song titles shoehorned in as references to how sexually attractive they think the other person is just so bad. And also the lyric, it's Kama Sutra show and tell. God, someone fetch me a bucket. It's also this really annoying habit that Meghan has, that she has this habit of over-singing. Yes, you can sing pretty well and you've got a good range, but the vocal gymnastics don't add anything to this sandwich. And also the line, I'm like a stray without a home. A stray doesn't have a home, you numbskull. I was also thinking of other bands that we could use this in the same way. So, for example, let's say, let's Plain White Tees and Hate is a strong word, but I really don't like you. Or let's Linkin Park and Burn It Down. Or let's Lily Allen and you. Or, my favourite, let's Cannibal Corpse and put them to death. We have a bit of a vintage next. We have Hollaback Girl by Gwen Stefani. Her reputation began as the lead singer of alternative rock act No Doubt, and she had a very successful solo career in the mid-2000s with songs like What You're Waiting For and The Sweet Escape being radio and pop music TV staples at that time. I'm not really a fan of either of those songs, especially the latter, but Hollaback Girl still strikes a particular nerve every time I hear it. Hatred of songs with me, a lot of the time, softens over time, but this one has actually remained very strong, hence my reason to put this song in the list. I mean, the chorus is bad enough, and this my repetition is dire, but the bridge is where the song reaches new levels of awful. With a sort of a cheerleader-esque style, this is bananas, B-A-N-A-N-A-S. I mean, wow. Lyrics from the heart right there. If your is bananas, you should definitely see a doctor. And also her attempts to be cool and young in the video. Yeah. Cringe, and definitely a case of mutton just as lamb. Staying in the mid-2000s this time, albeit a couple of years later, we have Sex on Fire by Kings of Leon. Overplayed, both at functions and by cover bands, but also the moment that this band of brothers who had made early 2000s alternative rock classics like Four Kicks, Molly's Chamber, and On Call, broke into the mainstream and produced this tripe, and sold out. I remember first hearing this when I was working at a local charity shop as a volunteer, and it was on the radio as a never heard before song at that time. From that moment on, I kind of wished I never heard it. Whenever the song comes on, I have to try and avoid it in any way, and also constantly reminded of the Michael McIntyre joke. I'm paraphrasing here, but if your sex is on fire, you've got chlamydia. Other STDs are available, by the way. Moves like Jagger. 3 words to send a shiver down my spine. Not only that, but 2 more. Maroon 5. The thing is, it wasn't always this way. The first couple of albums were actually okay, and songs like She Will Be Loved, This Love, Harder to Breathe, and Makes Me Wonder were actually pretty decent. However, the wheels came off in the very early 2010s, shedding their pop rock skin to a full-blown vapid pop act as Adam Devine with Friends. Released in 2011, this song was absolutely everywhere, and it would feature on an album appropriately called Overexposed. The introductory whistle is so annoying, and then you have that Adam Devine robotic tinged vocal, and the chorus sounds a little bit like Moobs Like Jabba as a result. Even a decent performance from Christina Aguilera couldn't save the song, and the Maroon 5 would serve as a bit of a death knell for any credibility that this band had, churning out sleazy hit after shallow hit from this point onwards. Next up, we have the second duet on the list, Cold, Cold Heart by Elton John and Dua Lipa. From what I can determine from the album it's taken from, is that Elton had an idea of bringing some of his classic songs to a new audience alongside some contemporary artists. This song, however, is on quite a high level of horrible. The title of the song itself is taken from a lyric in the song Sacrifice, which is actually one of my absolute favourite Elton John songs, and it starts off as Elton singing the first verse, albeit to an upbeat electronic rhythm. This alone rips the soul and the heart out of the original, and the devastating lyrics are rendered down to a gimmick almost with this sort of more upbeat tempo. But then the chorus does a complete 180, and we bring out everyone's favourite British Kosovan singer in Dua Lipa, who actually doesn't sing the chorus to Sacrifice, but rather Rocket Man. And in one fell swoop, two of my favourite Elton John songs have been subjected to this disgrace of a medley. Clearly Elton John doesn't need the money, so why on earth did he do this? Was he bored or something? Or maybe he went back to his cocaine days. I mean, who doesn't absolutely love Victim of Love, right? Lastly, we have a bit of a different one here, with She's So Lovely by Scouting for Girls. I think the main reason why I decided to put this here is the repetition. It gets to a point where the word lovely doesn't even sound like a real word anymore. And having had to listen to this song again to get my facts right, the word lovely is said 28 times. They clearly didn't have a thesaurus to hand. And it's not just the overwhelming amount of lovely. I mean, I can do lovely. I love lovely. It's lovely being lovely. But the lyrics in general are just really, really awful and almost childlike. I mean, in the bridge, I don't know how we'll make it through this. I mean, through what? You haven't even pictured the scene of what they're trying to make it through. What are you talking about? And also, she's flirty, turned 30. Ain't that the age a girl gets really dirty? Well, it's probably 47. And the gut-wrenching lyrics, I think that you are lovely. I think that you are lovely. Sing ad nauseum to the bridge, if you can even call it a bridge. It's just appalling, lazy songwriting. And there we have it, folks, my 10 songs that I hate. Stay tuned for the next video, and I will see you next time. You have a lovely day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.